Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to the Unwritten Futures panel discussion leveraging intergenerational collaboration to empower girl change makers at the Get Wiser Summit 2022 New Narratives Shared Futures. We are so happy to have some young change makers as well as people who are doing some wonderful change making in the field of women empowerment and girl rights. Today, I will be moderating the panel discussion. I am a young change maker from India. In 2018, I did start an initiative of my own known as the Second Chance Project to raise awareness about organ donation and transplantation in India. Along with that, I'm also very passionate about women's rights and education when it comes in this field. And I'm really excited to have this discussion and interaction with our change makers on panel today. We have three major panelists in our panel discussion today. The first panelist is Deborah. Deborah is a young African change maker who believes in the power of young people to make a difference in their world. She is passionate about young people and their safety from violence and abuse. Deborah founded Save a Girl Africa to empower young people, especially girls, to be safe from gender-based violence and to become voices against any form of violence and abuse in their communities. To date, Deborah's initiative has empowered over 5,000, that is 500,000 young people across Nigeria and Africa. Besides providing the safe space for girls, Deborah also harnesses the power of media to share inspiring stories of social entrepreneurs and young change makers focusing on their personal development, including the vision, challenges, and success factors. We are so excited to have Deborah on the panel. Welcome, Deborah. Second panelist is Dr. Hamida Elnis. Dr. Hamida is the founder and managing director of Yala Nabadir Organization, YNO, which is a nonprofit that focuses on youth empowerment in the areas of civic leadership, community participation, and organizations impact. She has over 9 years of experience in civic organization and community development, where she enables young people to play active roles in initiating and implementing innovative and sustainable solutions that are aligned with the community needs as well as priorities. Besides that, Dr. Hamida has helped more than 35 NGOs as a consultant to refocus their strategy and impact. Dr. Hamida was the first Sudanese woman to receive the prestigious Ashoka Fellowship from the Ashoka Innovators for the Public. We are so excited to have you on the panel today, Dr. Hamida. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm really honored to be with you today.
Thank you so much. And our third and final panelist is Angia Ermarni. Angia is the chairperson of Fatayat Noon, the young women's wing of the Indonesian Muslim mass organization Nahdlatul Ulama (NU). As a woman activist and politician, Angia strives to advance the position of women in Indonesian society and addresses different issues concerning women and children, especially in the health-related sectors. She believes that gender equality is the key to nation building, which requires active participation and community development from different local stakeholders, where they can share their aspirations and have a meaningful say in the future of their community. Besides her advocacy work, Angia is also a steering committee member in the World Bank Interfaith Framework to foster harmony and a more just future. Welcome, Angia. We are so excited to have you in the panel discussion. So getting started with the panel discussion today, let's start with the aspect of change making. This is a word which we constantly talk about when it comes to change maker and change making. Let's hear it from the panelists of what your definition of a change maker is, and how do you feel change making should happen in the grassroots level? Let's start with Dr. Hamida.
Okay. Hi guys, how are you? I'm really happy to be with you today. The word change actually makes me irritated. I'm obsessed with this word all of my life, because especially in Sudan or generally internationally, we have different situations of unsatisfaction. Well, what can we say? Different poverty conditions, different social challenges, different economic difficulties which our communities face. Change making is our responsibility towards our communities. I believe, because I started my work in the Sudanese community 10 years ago, and before that I'm still a professor at the university, so I all the time deal with youth. I believe that youth is the first or the basic pillar in change making. My definition to change making is that moving from an unpleasant situation or complicated community situation to better conditions through providing innovative solutions that can be suitable to the needs of the community and can be applicable through different tools and ways.
Thank you so much for sharing, Dr. Hamida. Taking cue from what you said about youth being the basic pillar of change making, let's go back to our young change maker, Deborah. And Deborah, what is your understanding of a change maker, and how do you understand change making when it comes to working in the grassroots level?
Thank you very much. First of all, I'm so excited to be here and honored as well to be having this conversation with people who are already making a difference in the world. I think that for me, change making started when I didn't even know that word existed. I saw that it was for me a mindset, right? A positioning in our minds that when things are going wrong around us, we have to take initiative. So I always say this, that change making is beyond what we do, it's beyond just having organizations. It begins from the mindset, believing that you have, influence in your space, in your own community. So I think there's so many definitions of change making, but for me, the first step is imbibing that mindset. You are powerful. You are an integral part of whatever space you find yourself, and you can make a difference. And I remember when I was in junior high school, at the time, I wasn't very familiar with leadership or with change making, but I just wasn't very happy about the situation I met. Young girls not standing up for themselves, thinking they are lesser than others in the community. And even though I didn't have all the resources, I thought that it just would be very powerful for me to take initiative in this situation. And I started organizing, storytelling workshops to inspire them, to build that confidence in them. And within a term, they were already up speaking for themselves, participating. And so I think for me, that's change making. It's not in the big things, it's in the mindset, and that mindset shapes the actions that we take on a daily.
Thank you so much for sharing, Deborah. From your understanding of not even knowing that this word exists to finally being able to understand what it is and starting your own change-making journey, it's really interesting to know how your journey emerged as a change maker. Going back to Dr. Hamida, we know that you've done some very commendable work when it comes to youth empowerment and community development. How did you start about your work in this field? How did your initiative emerge, and how did you go about working in this initiative? If you could share some light on that.
Okay, thank you. Actually, from when I started working at the university, I meet youth every day. I'm an academic advisor, the part of my job, and I come from a family that is really involved in social work, community work, community participation. My father, my mother. So I grew up with this social responsibility about something has to be done in getting things better, or this word change making. I started by working with small groups of youth, especially girls, by the way, because we have different issues with girls empowerment in Sudan, just like everywhere else, regarding the differences in cultures or something else. I started noticing how those young people have a huge potentials. They have huge potentials to make a change in their lives and their and the others. But it is just about, they need just a small touch. They need some direction. They need some mentoring. I keep mentoring different groups of youth, different groups of girls, in that they have to understand who they are, what do they want in their life, how they can increase their impact regarding their participation, their roles in their communities, and even among their families. When I noticed this great impact of very small mentoring or direction, then I come out with the idea of founding an organization that can provide systematic programs targeting youth, including girls, in that we need to increase the participation of youth, to increase or to enhance the leadership potentials in them, because in Sudan we have difficulties in the education system, in that youth or young people cannot find opportunities to practice themselves, or to practice leadership roles in their lives. So voluntary work or social action generally is one of the most important places that young people can express themselves, try to discover who they are, to discover their potentials, and trying more to be much more useful for themselves, for their families, and for their communities. So we have founded YNO. Yallam Badir is an Arabic word or Sudanese word, which means let's being proactive. Let's being proactive. It is all about proactivity. I believe that the concept of proactivity is the core essence of change making on different levels. Just like my colleague said, it's first of all, it's a mindset. It's a way of thinking. Once you start discovering yourself and trying to recognize who you are and how can you being useful to your community, you will go through a paradigm shift journey. And this is what we do in our organization. We design projects targeting youth, and all our projects, by the way, targeting from 60 to 65% of girls, because the population, girls are generally more than men, and also Sudanese girls are much more involved in community participation, and they are much more committed. So we design programs of capacity building. We try to consult a very good consultancy board in designing exactly according to the needs analysis of those youth, and how we can enhance and empower them to be much more participating, to be better, to have better impact, positive impact on their lives and on their community. So this is how we started. Now we are 10 years experience of generating projects of enhancing leadership potentials, positive action, community participation, entrepreneurship. We recently have started an entrepreneurship and innovation center, which comes out of our organization, because we believe that we are focusing on supporting youth and girls in enhancing their community participation and impact, but without economic growth or economic empowerment to the individuals and the institutions, we cannot have a sustainable impact or sustainable institutions in the civil society or in the sector of entrepreneurship as one of the most influential solutions to our economic and social crisis in Sudan.
Thank you, Dr. Hamida. It's so fascinating to know how you're engaging young people, especially young girls, in your organization, and over a decade, how it's emerged into generating the sense of change making and empowerment with such youngsters. So, thank you so much for doing the work that you're doing. Going to Deborah, Deborah, even you have done some really amazing work when it comes to young girls and women, and you've identified certain issues which are there in the community, especially surrounding girls and women. So if you could share about the work of your initiative, Save a Girl Africa, how you came up with the idea and what all work you've done so far with it, we would be really happy to know about the initiative which you've been running.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dr. Mida, it's really exciting to hear the work that you're doing. I think I'd begin by saying that, like I said earlier, change making is a mindset. And for me, I really started my change making journey when I was doing a scholarship to a leadership academy in the first year in high school. And it was the first time I heard the word change making or leadership. And I saw other young people like me who were taking initiatives to solve problems in their community. And that was it for me because it looked like I finally found that space that could afford me the opportunity to share the passion that was already inside of me. But my work with Save the Girl Africa really, I could trace it back to junior high school when my close friend at the time was sexually abused right in the school compound by older students. And that experience, it shook her, and it was like she was transformed. She used to be the life of the party, used to be really active, used to be just, blooming girl. And after that experience, it was just like she was somebody different. And I didn't know about the experience in time, but when she opened up to me, I was shocked because I wasn't really conscious of the situation of sexual abuse or violence in my community. So my experience pushed me to go online. I started making research about what was happening. Most importantly, even in my school, I was organizing questionnaire sessions to just relate with the girls and see if they've had similar experiences. And I was shocked at the result I got because so many girls have had history with abuse or with violence. And even the boys had experienced stuff like that. But the concern in all of the thing was the situation of violence and abuse in Nigeria and in Africa are built in young people is just this violence, anger, like they're waiting to unleash it. In my school at the time, there were so many girls who they were just angry. They were not able to relate well, but it was because of the things they had gone through. So when I got to the Leadership Academy in senior high school, I realized that when you have experienced or you've seen your friends or people in your community experience similar things like that, it's not just for you to wait or going to do something about it or wait for the older people. This is something affecting me, affecting my friends. I mean, we don't know who will be next. So I was really inspired to use the resources and the support I had at the Leadership Academy to begin something. So all through senior high school, I was working on the idea. I was, just asking questions. I was interacting with the Leadership Academy, getting feedback. And when I graduated high school in 2018, I launched the initiative Save the Girl Africa. And what I wanted to do with Save the Girl Africa was to empower young people, especially girls, with the right knowledge and with the right community so that they can be safe from gender-based violence, especially sexual abuse. What I was doing was that I was organizing story sharing workshops. But I realized that there was a need for young girls to just be able to freely share their experiences and the things they've gone through because they've not had that space. Sometimes they're afraid, so afraid to share, what they've gone through. They feel, oh, they would blame me or nobody would be able to relate with me. So In the story sharing worlds, we're basically just sharing our experiences. Girls were coming out with really deep things that they've never shared before. And for me, that was really huge. But I realized that there was a need to really go to the root cause of this situation, because I realized that even the boys or the girls that abuse us usually have been victims of that situation themselves. So we see in Africa that there's so much violence even in the mindset. And I wanted to address that root cause. And one of the things that Civil Africa is that we have a curriculum containing sexual health education, mental health education, community leadership, positivity, and value sharing. And when we together, how to this curriculum, because I realized that there's a need to give them something different. The virus has given them something different all their lives. It has given them negativity. It has given them violence. So we can't just say that we want to, just pouring end abuse on social media. It has to go beyond that. It has to go to empowering both the boys and the girls with the right content, because we cannot give what we don't have. So in the past 3 years, Senegal Africa has been using this curriculum to empower students, empower girls, and most importantly, we are building the largest community of young people who are safe, who can, interact healthily with their peers and be safe from sexual abuse, because now it has to go to prevention rather than cure, right? We're not just waiting for after the experience has happened to do something about it. We're waiting to empower young people before they experience that. And that's what Civil Africa has been doing. And it's been an exciting journey. I can see the mindset of young people being shaped. I can see young people not just saying they're victims, but they want to be the voices against abuse and violence in their own community. And that for me is everything.
Thank you so much for sharing about your change-making journey, Deborah. Right from having that idea in your mind, looking at that issue surrounding you and the girls and women surrounding you, and then coming on to the implementation and starting your initiative. It's been a very empowering journey. So thank you so much for sharing that. While we were talking about these initiatives, I'm sure that, all of you must have also come across certain challenges or obstacles in your journey of starting an own initiative of your own, and coming across those challenges and even tackling them. Even when I started my own initiative, when I was around 18 years old, I had certain challenges. For example, when I used to go to schools and colleges and talk to their authorities about doing awareness sessions for organ donation, a lot of times I was not taken seriously, thinking that what knowledge would I have. But slowly and steadily, even I went ahead and tackled those challenges in some or the other way. So I would also like to hear about what all challenges you faced, starting with Dr. Hamida, while you were starting your initiative and coming across implementing it, and how did you go about tackling these obstacles in your journey?
Well, working with the community is not easy. Actually, it's full of challenges because you are working with a very dynamic situation, people, and especially here in Sudan, we have a severe economic situation or economic crisis. We are faced with political instability for a long time because we had 30 years of al-Bashir regime since 1989. And actually working with youth is very challenging during the regime, because the regime think that everyone works with youth is trying to make them demonstrating against the government. So we have some difficulties facing interviews with the intelligence, visits from the security system. Sometimes we are faced with closing the organization or canceling some of our events because we need to declare what we are doing, even if it's just a workshop, a simple workshop with you. This was sorry, this was the first challenge for us. For example, we cannot announce for a leadership workshop or a leadership projects, we have to camouflage or make some names. For example, social responsibility project, or we avoid using the word of leadership. It was a threatening word to the regime. We try to work in a low profile sometimes, because actually all our workshops and projects, it's an awareness project. It tries to push young people to think differently, to think freely, to suggest new path for change. The word change is a very threatening word for a country with the political instability. That was the biggest challenge for us. 2 years ago, we had a very huge revolution that take off the regime. We're starting a very long journey of another round of political instability, starting with transitional government. The youth has started this revolution, and it was really historical. We can see how our efforts of 9 or 10 years can result in a huge awareness and huge community participation during the revolution. And I keep telling my friends that it wasn't a political revolution. It started once we started this voluntary and social action 7 or 8 years ago, because this awareness or this revolution has resulted from a long journey of building participation, building collaboration, building awareness about social responsibility, social participation. So after the revolution, we have faced with the coup, a military coup. Again, now currently we are facing a very severe political instability that come along with a very severe economic crisis, very dangerous rates of inflation. So during all these difficulties, working, trying to implement our projects, trying to keep with the strategies that we stopped making strategies. We just make action plan year by year, because the leaky situation cannot make us work just like in any stable situation in other countries. And I keep telling my friends in Ashoka that yes, I'm the first Sudanese fellow in Ashoka, but our condition is different. No one can imagine how difficult we can work, how difficult we can try to afford the budget for our projects, because this is another challenge, is that affording the budgets for the projects, keep paying those volunteers, because life is very difficult nowadays. Working with volunteers without offering incentives or salaries or making some full-time team, this is very difficult now. I cannot bring volunteers without paying something, because I know how they can suffer to come to the organization and try to make, because they're really enthusiastic to participate and do things, but they have some responsibilities for their families. So these challenges can make us changing our plans over and over. For example, we have 2 projects ready to be implemented with the full theory of change, but we keep postponing implementing them because the context is not ready now, for example. So actually also we have some difficulties in some social barriers, especially for girls. We still we still have some difficulties with pushing girls to counter the family barriers, to counter the I have to say masculine domination in making their decision. We are trying to encourage girls to participate and to apply to scholarships abroad, and trying to go to an exchange programs, to see the world, to open their minds, to be much more international by participating in and going out of this locality in Sudan. But we face all the time, mostly because after the revolution, the girls participation gets better, but we still having these difficulties of my family can't give me permission to stay late for example, even workshop. We have some difficulties in that. Some of our girls, when they get married, they stop working or stop volunteering because they don't have their decisions anymore. Our culture in Sudan unfortunately have many disadvantages or many barriers that decreasing or dumping the women participation, especially when we come to leadership positions or higher or bigger responsibilities in different institutions, whatever the sector is, government or civil society or private sector. So one of our challenges is that keeping our volunteers, especially girls, from turning off. Recently, we have faced also with the turning off of the volunteers by migration. Many of our volunteers and youth have the choice to go out of the country, finding better way of living. They have faced by responsibilities in their families. So we keep trying to fill our positions because there is a high turnover, either from the girls by committing family responsibilities, or the guys by choosing to find some way to go out of the country. So economic challenge, political instability, social barriers. These are the basic challenges that we are facing in our work.
Thank you so much for sharing all of those challenges,
But
Dr.
we are
Hamida.
trying. We're trying by more awareness, more supporting, more encouraging, trying to make the partnership internationally, because international partnership can support our work better than locally. Trying to make many programs of that can help youth to understand the political situation and understand really their role and how they can commit their social role even in difficult situations like this.
Thank you so much for sharing. I'm sure the journey has not been easy. You mentioned about such significant challenges you've come across in your journey, especially with respect to the involvement of girls and young women in your initiatives. But it's really encouraging to see the kind of initiatives which you have taken and the kind of support you're enabling them with in order to help them empower themselves and be more active in terms of such programs. So thank you so much for sharing. Going on to Deborah. Deborah, you have been also working with young girls and women and working on issues of violence and abuse that they face in their own communities. What sort of challenges do you face in your day-to-day work with your initiative, and particularly working as a young woman yourself? What are the particular challenges do you face in your journey while you are going ahead with your initiative, and how do you go ahead with enabling yourself to work with these challenges and going ahead with tackling them? Over to you, Deborah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I think that I can relate to a lot of things that Dr. Amida was saying, especially that last part where you're saying that girls face issues with leaving early because their parents have given them curfews and all that. I think that I faced that, especially because I'm a young change maker. When I was in the leadership academy, we used to like finish later. So I used to go from school the Leadership Academy. So like we run till the evening. Because my parents didn't understand what change making was or the idea of leadership, they always they were angry that I used to like get in late, and I used to like get beaten a lot for coming home late. And I think that for me, I realized the potential that investing my time in such needs would, give me fuel. So I kept doing it. And in the process, trying to them to see reason in what I was doing. When I started Bigel Africa, they were really proud because they didn't understand at first what it was all about. So I eventually came around seeing the impact that my work was making on young people like myself and the community. So I think that was probably the first challenge I experienced on my change making journey. But when I started Bigel Africa, the first issue that I experienced as a young maker would be probably funding. We didn't have a lot of conversations on funding in the leadership academy, so I don't really thought about it, that how would I fund all of these projects that I'm, lining up. But one of the things that we were taught in that leadership academy was teamwork and collaboration. And for me, that made a lot of difference. I saw a lot of other people who were interested in the work I was doing. They believed in the vision and they were ready to come on board. And I was open to the support because I believe that change making would never be possible if we tried to work alone. So while it was challenging for me to raise all of the resources I needed to do the project, I had support from my team members who were, supporting me with their time, supporting me with their own resources. And a lot of young change makers around me who already started their own initiatives were willing to collaborate with us. So there was a project we did. It was a school tour where we were going to schools to equip the students with the curriculum we had in Bigel Africa. And at that time, we were just a team of about 4 people, and we didn't have enough volunteers to, reach out to everyone. So I collaborated with some of the initiatives of my fellow change makers, and they brought their own volunteers on board. So I feel like it would have been challenging if I didn't have all of that support, because in Nigeria and in Africa, especially for young people, it's sometimes difficult to gather funds, especially because you're working sometimes. I mean, I was not working at the time, and even if I was, all of the resources I had would not be enough to do the things I needed to do. But I've been able to get through that challenge with teamwork and collaboration and partnership. And I think that the challenge that has been, really, really hard on my own change making journey is the idea of how intense the situation of violence and abuse is for young people. It's usually like I said before, using the story of my friend who was sexually abused when I was in junior high school. It's like it takes a huge part of them, or they believe so. So it's a bit hard sometimes to reach out to these girls because they've already sometimes given up on themselves. They don't think that there's help for them. So, but I think that the approach that Bigel Africa has used is, and that has been up on this journey is, best step is being together, not trying to force our information on you, but trying to hear your story, but trying to connect with you. Because a lot of times the reason why girls and young people in Nigeria have not been encouraged to share their experiences because they know that they're going to become the talk on social media. Their names are going to be going, in tags, papers, and they don't want that for themselves sometimes. So I think that I've been able to realize that it's not just about what the government has to say about the situation of gender-based violence. It's about what visions people are actually experiencing, and sometimes we're not able to get the people, the audience that we want to reach. But I think that by inspiring one girl and telling that girl that inspiring you is you inspiring someone else, we've been able to reach more people that way. We've been able, bring these people together. Now they don't see us as an NGO trying to idea. They see us as family. They see us as people that they can relate with. And I think another challenge is access. As a young child, I'm my second year in the university, and years ago, I was just a fresh graduate out of high school, going to high schools to talk to the principals or the head of school, tell him I have this solution or I have this curriculum, and they're like, oh, it's owned by the government, we can't take that in because we don't have any approval. But I think that it's about being common ground. I started my project by taking the things I was doing to the school I graduated from because they recognized me, and I've been able to take initiative when I was in school, so they already knew me, and it was just easier to, just bring this in. Some people were saying that that generation will not understand. A lot of young people say that, but will not be able to go far if we don't find a common ground and help everyone see reason. So I think that working with the schools and the thoughts in one school that I graduated from made a lot of difference. And usually they help us put in a word for the next school puts in a word for the next. So it just made things easier. But at the same time, thinking about the impact of my work on the large scale, it was a bit difficult to get that access at the level that we wanted to get it. But it's really exciting. For example, being an Ashoka young changemaker and a co-leader in the Each movement, I'm seeing a lot of partners, for example, ministries of education in Nigeria, interested in coming on board and in the work of change making because they realize that the most important thing is access. If I can't access my audience, how will I be to offer the solution to them? So I think partnerships with major stakeholders like the government, ministries of education, and other ministries go a long way. And we're gradually getting there, but not enforce it or push it because it's about affecting and making impact on directly the audience that we have set. So I'm just doing one step at a time, really. It's not been entirely risky, but I'm inspired by the impact of my work on at least one person keeps me going.
Thank you so much for sharing, Deborah. Right from the challenges that you've been facing with your initiative and your work to going ahead and tackling them with various interventions that you're doing and supporting women and girls. It's really heartwarming to know. One major way of tackling such challenges was through collaboration that you mentioned. You mentioned how alone we can do so little, but when we collaborate with like-minded people and organizations, we can even create a wider impact and create a wider good impact when it comes to the lives of such young women and girls whom you are working with. So taking that discussion forward, the panel discussion is mostly towards leveraging the aspect of intergenerational collaboration, of working across generations. So Deborah, how do you in your initiative work with adult allies, and how do you collaborate with people across generations in your initiative, taking support from them, and how did you go about doing it, since collaboration is such an important aspect of your change-making journey?
Thank you so much. I think that, like I said earlier, it's impossible even alone, and that's why I'm so connected to because I'm new core of everyone in Changemaker movement because it means that everyone has to be involved. I want to share a quick story. My mom is a teacher, right? And she's been teaching for the past 22 years. When I started my work as a change maker, I didn't exactly see where she could come in. I wasn't, because, like people were always trying to hide things from our parents. It's just this thing we do. So I didn't think that she should be involved. But, going back in time to, how my mom has been able to impact, over thousands of young people because she's a teacher, she engages with them, that's the work. So at some point, I realized it to engage her because she has more experience, for example, with young people, with children. She knows probably what goes through their mind. She knows how they think. She knows how to relate with them. So I started to engage my mom and how she's able to work with young people. And, I was really shocked about the exciting because while she might not necessarily know the meaning of change making or leadership, she was already making a lot of difference, generation after generation. So this is just came to the point that change making is, for me, huge. It's huge work. So I've been making the idea of collaboration and teamwork like one of the biggest value in my organization and in the work that I do. And he always does a lot of this. For example, in the Leadership Academy, I had a lot of other young change makers who attended their initiative. And when we launched our initiative, we didn't have all of the resources and everything that we needed to do work. Just taking that this organization has and, working together towards the same goal has been able to help us achieve goals at different levels. And even now, I'm thinking about the older generation, and we are Gen Z. We have to work together because that's the only way that we can reach everyone. There's a need, like I said before, to find a common ground. They have probably the experience. So sometimes we're thinking they don't understand, but they've also had problems. And I believe that connecting to our history somehow makes us more powerful going to the future. So intergenerational collaboration is very essential. And while I've not really explored it in the past, this year is been one of the biggest things that I've been doing with my organization, getting mentorship even from older people who have started their own initiatives. When I became an Ashoka Young Changemaker, I was mentored by Dr. Princess, who has had over 32 years of experience with non-profit work and with, working on the issue of gender-based violence. And, when she started engaging me and, we had several conversations, it opened my mind to this problem has been a problem, since way back. And we need to understand the core of it so that we can even create solutions that are sustainable to problems. So yeah, that's been how I have collaborated with, people at different levels and even with younger people, engaging all classes so that we can really make the difference that we want to make.
Thank you so much for sharing, Deborah. Right from engaging your work with young people to getting mentorship from adults and engaging them in your change-making journey. It's wonderful to see how you're collaborating in an intergenerational manner and learning from their own journeys and their own learning journeys when it comes to change making. So thank you so much for sharing that. We have a third panelist, Angia, also amongst us. Angia, if you could share a bit about your initiative, Fatayatnu, and the work that you've been doing there, especially when it comes to the work of enabling women in your organization. So if you could share a bit about your journey with the organization and the kind of work that you've been doing with it.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm sorry for this distraction because I'm already in my journey to go home. I'm very happy with you today because I can share, especially for me, from Fatayat NU. Fatayat NU is a young Muslim organization, and we are throughout Indonesia, and not only in Indonesia but also in some other countries. We call it a special branch from Fatayat NU in other overseas. And I will. Is it possible to share screen or no? Or just we just talk.
You may share your screen if you wish. Sure,
okay, but now, yes, yeah, I will talk it. And Fatayat NU is we are working focus in women and children. We already now this year we already 72 years old. 72, yes. 71, yes, yeah, and it's very mutual actually for organization, and in every period, I mean, in every generation, the challenge and also the works, the focus is always change. Just like in, for example, now we focus on political. Okay, this is my screen. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, next slide, please. Yes, I will talk about Fatayat NU today, and also what we Fatayat NU already done, and program we already implemented in the grassroots, and also the some best practice that we already achieved. In Indonesia, we have 34 provincial level. This is we call it the provincial branch, and then also we have 590 district levels. We have the office, or yes, we have a branch or office in the sub district level, and also in the village level. Traditionally, Fatayat NU have just like Islamic or religious gathering in every communities, especially in the village. We call it Majlis Taklim. And Fatayat NU works on issue of strengthening the rights of women and children, and advocacy, as well as being as a reference for Rahmatul lil Alamin, which is basic in the basic of its movement. So we use this Majlis Taklim, this Islamic gathering in the community to deliver the issue, the messages that we already developed in the national level. So in every district, they have, in every not district, only in district, in every village they have their own the routine activities that we use through this through this activity. We deliver the issue that we already developed, just like for example, the issue about Islam Rahmatan Alamin, and then the issue of health for children, issue of stunting, issue of education, issue of politics. Very root in Fatayat NU activities. So this is very good strategy, or very basic strategy of our rules. And this is some of rule that Fatayat already done is strengthen gender mainstreaming. This is a strategic issue. This is our challenging. And recently we have the training for about 300 young people, member of Fatayat NU, in the issue of mainstreaming gender in the grassroots level. We are concerned about the decentralization that Indonesia now have a system that decentralization. Not every the leader of a district or province know very well about how implemented the gender mainstreaming in that and their program. So we train the Fatayat NU cadre and Fatayat NU member to involve very deeply in every step in the grassroots level. And second, community strengthening through the training, community empowerment. Of course, because Fatayat NU mostly the cadre is the facilitator and also the motivator in the grassroots level, in the village, in the community level. So some issue that we want to deliver, we just increase the capacity of their capacity to become just like spokesperson or champion in particular issue. For example, about the stunting, for example, because stunting is still a big problem in Indonesia. So we choose some of the community leader parenting, and then the issue of the issue of politics, advocacy, and then anti-discrimination, etc. And my screen is gone. Okay, that's okay, fine. And others, we have basically the Fatayat NU cadre is work in the grassroots level, and also we also give the capacity of the politics also, because it's very important to advocate not only in the civil society movement but also the policy movement. So we very often to have the training or increased capacity of the board of the Fatayat in every level to in the issue of politics. And other thing is just like the Islamic Rahmatan lil Alamin issue. It is very our concern also. Mostly in Fatayat NU is da'iyah mean the religious leader. And this not only we are talking about not only about the the Islamic values about salat, and then fasting, and pay zakat. Not only that, but also how the cadre of all the da'iyah of Fatayat NU able to talk about the other issue, just like education for women, education for children, and how we prepare our girls to have to get married and something like that. And Fatayat NU also very in the front line when we are talking to the government to the increase the age of children's marriage, something like that. And other thing, best practice you can see or can read in my slide also. I think it is all. I don't know. This is also answer your question or not.
Thank you so much. It definitely does, Andya. The kind of commendable work that you've been doing with Fatayat NU, and how you are empowering women and girls through different interventions that you're doing, through education, through your programs. So thank you so much for sharing that. You do also mention, like we were talking in Deborah's case, how there is a sense of collaboration even in your work, how you have been collaborating and then doing your work together. So if we have two very good adult allies today, you and Dr. Hamida, if both of you can share about your journeys of doing intergenerational collaboration and including young people in your initiatives, it will be really wonderful to know about your journeys. Dr. Hamida, if we can start with you about doing collaboration with young people in your initiative and how you are including them as change makers.
Well, thank you, and welcome, Benny Trima, right? You are doing such an amazing work with a huge size. Yeah. This is amazing, actually. Well, yes, I myself is an example for the intergeneration collaboration, because most of my work is mentoring youth and coaching them and leading teams and creating teams, leading them, training them, mentoring them, supervising them until they do the tasks or the projects that they are supposed to do. So so this is my believe in that intergenerational collaboration is a must, because the accumulated experiences of people needs to be passed forward. Youth has a huge potentials, and way far beyond our expectations as the previous generation. I keep surprised by what you are doing, you young people. Your skills, your pace of development and progress is amazing. Passing the experience and designing a systematic channels of this intergeneration collaboration is one of of my tasks, because, for example, in our organization, we are depending on a mentorship system for every project we do. We basically work with capacity building tools. This is phase one of our work, because our theory of change consists of three phases. The first phase is working with young social actors themselves, enhancing their potentials, training them, increasing their leadership impact. And the second phase is working with the institutions themselves, with refocusing the strategies, working with the teams and the level, a higher level of implementation. And the third phase is creating those platforms or networks among those institutions and those individuals in order to avoid or decrease the fragmentation, increasing more partnership, more collaboration. So this cannot be without touching this concept of intergenerational collaboration. Our mentorship system, for example, is, we have a project which is enhancing the competence of active leaders in civil society institutions and bodies. We work with actually now we have graduated the fifth cohort or the fourth cohort, and now we are preparing for the fifth cohort. We work with them for 6 months or 5 months, working with them on different levels of capacity building, in self-awareness and context understanding and values systems, on community competence, different packages and different content. Those content has been are prepared by a committee of consultants. Those committee of consultants are the generation of experts that we need to connect their knowledge, their experience to those young people. Actually, the training content or the packages has been designed from 2 to 3 months before the project, and being connected with M&E system. But those consultants or experts are very close to our work. They keep following with us the implementation of the projects. They become the mentors of those youth in the different sectors or specialties. For example, when we work in the sector of education, or in the sector of health, or in the sector of entrepreneurship, we bring the experts in these sectors and make them work closely with the young people in directing them, trying to encourage them to refine the work, to produce better projects and better implementation with the better evaluation. So the committee of experts is the first methodology that we use to increase the intergeneration collaboration. The mentorship system and coaching, the mentorship system for professional guidance, but the coaches, we have different coaches with a coaching system that support young people in life skills, generally life skills, because like I said, for example, the young girls needs different support in encouraging them to take their own decisions, to try to be much more strong in defending their dreams, trying to convince people that they are deserving better reality in finding better opportunities in participation in community, getting scholarships abroad, choosing what do they want in their lives. So life skills coaching is also one of our methodologies in bridging this gap between the generations. And also we have different workshop and group discussions in different topics according to the current need or the current the trendy topics. For example, nowadays we have a huge dialogue about what is the role of youth regarding the situation of political instability in Sudan, because youth are defending their right in choosing their government, in representing themselves in decision-making levels. But they are faced by a military coup, which is trying to dump all these trials. So we bring professors, experts, for example, in the field of political economy, political economic analysis, political history, the history of Sudan, trying to connect those young people with the history and the previous experience that people go through, because in order not to get commit the same mistakes over and over since the independence in Sudan. This connect of intergenerational collaboration is very important, because young people could very likely to be let's say separate or disconnected with the historical development or the events and the experiences that happened in the history, because they think that they are independent enough to decide what they want, regardless everything. Actually, we face some trust issues between generations during the revolution. People keep underestimating youth potentials, youth competence in making decisions, keep blocking them to get forward and trying to get higher leadership positions. But after revolution, youth said their word, and they convinced everyone in the community that they have to sit with them and try to make better connections and better collaboration. So that's what we are doing, and we are trying very hard in connecting these generations in a better way.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hamida, for sharing that. It's so nice to see the kind of intercollaboration between the different generations happening in your initiative, and how often it's the case that young people are not taken seriously, or they don't have mentors like you all. But it's adult allies that you who put in their faith and their trust in young people and help them in their change-making journey. So thank you so much for doing that. Going on to Angia, how do you collaborate with young people in your initiative, particularly young girls and women, and how do you go about this journey of intergenerational collaboration within your organization? We'd love to hear that from you.
Yeah, of course, because my organization is have a very certain age, between 20 to 45 years old. So the program, all of the program is dedicated to the areas, and because the Nahdlatul Ulama, we have three. We divide into three women organization, student, and then young people like me, Fatayat Nahdlatul Ulama, and then Muslimat as elderly, and of course, nowadays, Indonesia is a very huge number of young people, because now we get the bonus demographic, and then this is very the population of young people is very huge. So we very concentrate and engagement to young people program is very high. For example, just we have the conference, international conference of young Muslim women, and we try to look for, and we try to provide and to to ask or to invite some best practice of young people who are have a best practice in, especially in dakwah, in a very various ways. It's like with football, for example, we invite from the Australia, and then we also with the dance and others, and also fashion, because Indonesia is a Muslim fashion is very high recommended. And another is just like the environment. In the issue of environment is very important, and in some of survey in Indonesia, young people in Indonesia mostly very love to talking about the environment. That's why in a very close, in a very July maybe we plan to have a workshop about young people and environment, especially in religious foundation, something like that.
Thank you so much for sharing. It's wonderful to see how you're involving young people in different avenues within your initiative and helping them in their own change-making journey. So thank you so much for sharing that. Moving on to our last set of questions, everyone knows about the Everyone a Change Maker or Each movement by Ashoka, Innovators for the Public, where they believe that each and every one of us have the potential within ourselves to start our own change-making journeys and become a change maker to help bring about a positive impact in the society. So to each of the panelists, what is your idea of the Everyone a Change Maker or Each movement of Ashoka, and what is one advice that you would like to give to people who have been listening to this panel discussion to start their own change-making journeys, particularly young women and girls who are looking up to you as role models? Starting with Angia, please go ahead and share your conception of the Everyone a Change Maker movement of Ashoka.
Yes, I think this just like the inspiration, the experience of Ashoka is wonderful, and I think everyone can be a change maker, and I believe it. And just like this collaboration with the organization that are already have the programs in the grassroots level in the community is very important, because they already have some the achievement to change the community, not only very big, but from to start a very small step. But I think the big achievement is start from very small steps. So I think working with the community in a grassroots level is very important, and the collaboration with the organization, just like Fatayat and when maybe in another organization, especially for women and children, is very useful and very strategic movement. I think that's my view.
Thank you so much, Angia. Going on to Dr. Hamida, what is your idea of the Everyone of a Change Maker movement, and what is one advice that you would like to give to people listening to this discussion?
Okay, thank you, Radha. I believe that lots of people just don't realize how influential they can be in their communities and in their lives. Sometimes people just need, just like I said, a touch, or just a very tiny direction to realize how important they are and how influential they can, how can they change their lives and others. So I believe that everyone can make a change in different level. If you can make a change in the level of your family, in the very small cycles of your circles of your life, or in bigger circles in their small community, bigger community, making different collaboration with other influential social actors, and this is what we are responsible of. I believe that we have a huge responsibility in paving the way to more leaders and more participation of whoever. We don't know who can come with that tipping point change, or if we can say, if you can say that. I always told my volunteers that we just work. We don't know when that huge change or the historical turning point that can happen to our community. When could it happen? Who is going to lead this change? We just work and hoping that sometimes these circles of change can enlarge and can be uh, inclusive and getting more and more participation from others. So that's why I'm happy to be in the network of Ashoka, in different networks that can enables me to meet different people from different experiences that can opening my mind and my experience to help to enable me to help more people in different ways. Thank you.
Those were some really impactful words, Dr. Hamida. Thank you so much for sharing. Last but not the least, a young changemaker, Deborah. What is your idea of the Everyone a Changemaker, each movement of Ashoka, and what is one advice that you would like to give to especially young changemakers listening to this discussion, particularly young women and girls who are looking up to you?
Yeah, exciting. First of all, I'm so connected to this call, like I said earlier, because I realized early enough that it's impossible for one person to be able to do it. And that's why I'm so honored and happy to be a co-leader in the Everyone is Changemaker movement. I think that an Everyone is Changemaker world is a world where everyone is thinking out of the box as to how they can be a part of the big picture. We always expect people that have more influence, for example, the government, to solve problems or to take initiative when things are going wrong in the community or in the society. But I think that we all have one way in the other contributed to the problems, being created. So we have to be a part of the solution. And so it's important that everyone, and we recently just launched the Everyone is Changemaker movement in Nigeria, in Lagos, Nigeria. And that was an amazing space, seeing people come together, seeing even the government, seeing ministries of education, seeing the media, saying they are very, very ready to come into this movement. And I'd say that to every young person out there who is thinking about how they can be a part of change making, don't just say that something too difficult. I'm one of the co-leaders in the movement, okay? It says that imagine a world where everyone is like me. Imagine a world where everyone is like all of the amazing people here. Imagine a world where everyone is taking initiative to solve the problems that, are wrong, the problems that exist in our communities. That's a world where, we won't have to like just wait and keep waiting. Things will start happening and the world will gradually start changing. So if you're a young person that wants to make a difference, let it begin from the mindset. Internalize the idea that you're not just a change maker. For example, I have a lot of change makers in my network who are young and already doing stuff, but I always tell them that it's important to empower other young people with the mindset that you already have. Empower them with, that thing that you already have. So I want everyone to, just pass it on. We already are empowered with this message. We have to pass the baton on so that we can all make a difference together. Thank you.
Thank you for those powerful words, Deborah. That's definitely going to inspire a lot of young girls and women and other young change makers to start their own journeys and particularly also seek mentorship from adult allies. So thank you so much for that. With this, we end the panel discussion on the unwritten futures, leveraging intergenerational collaboration to empower girl change makers. Thank you so much to all the panelists, Deborah, Dr. Hamida, and Angia for joining us today and sharing your own journeys of intergenerational collaboration with your own initiatives, empowering girls, empowering women with the initiatives that you've been doing. And thank you so much to the audience for joining in today, taking out the time to listening to this discussion. Thank you also to the Get Wiser Summit for organizing this panel discussion and for hearing out the stories of our panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Radha. We're looking